All right, do you feel that? That is the granite landscape shifting in a dramatic way, no doubt. A huge announcement, breaking news. And to go to that breaking news, what a trio we have assembled here. Nick Sulsky, Johnny Morris, Jennifer Jones. So wonderful of you all to join me for this. Nick, let's get right to it. The curling group. Tell me about it. Big news.
Wow. Where to start? The Curling Group is a new company that we just founded recently with the incredible support of folks like Johnny and Jen. And we have acquired the Grand Slam of Curling from Rogers. And Rogers is going to continue to be our great partner here north of the 49. But the plans are big. We are going to blow up the roaring game all around the world. And I could not be more excited to start on this journey alongside, I mean, literally like the two biggest legends that the sport has ever had. It's pretty incredible, really.
Jennifer, I get goosebumps. You can tell who's a major salesman in all of this. But what comes up for you when you hear all of this? It seems like this is such a pivotal moment in the curling world, and you're putting your expertise, your greatness into this.
It is a pivotal moment. And because I've just announced my retirement and, I've really done a lot of reflection on my curling career and where we started, especially as female athletes, and where we are now. And you think, oh, it's grown exponentially. But this is the step that we need as athletes, as curling athletes, for the sport to grow even more around the world. In North America, it's got so much potential, and it's just so exciting to hear and to be a part of. And hopefully we can have a great impact.
Johnny, I love the evolution of watching Nick Sulsky get involved in the curling world. And I know you and him have had a lot of great conversations that has stretched over some time now. But just tell me, from your perspective, having been such an integral part of this game, to see somebody like Nick, who, isn't in that traditional sphere of the curling world, come into this, buy in, and see the opportunity and see what this game can evolve to.
Well, I've gotten to know Nick over the last couple of years, and what I can say about Nick is he's a really creative, I'd say like borderline genius, and he's a huge fan of the game of curling. But what I really like about Nick is that he provides a fresh perspective, and I think that where curling is going these days, which it's getting a lot of momentum around the world. There's a lot more people that want to start this game and are really getting intrigued about the game. And Nick, as curlers that are inside playing at the elite level, sometimes it's hard to really see that. But Nick has kind of seen that from an outside perspective, getting involved in curling in the last few years from more of a sponsorship level. And I think it's, we've had some awesome discussions, and it's got me excited to get on board with this. And I can't wait to see what the future will bring.
And Nick, we've heard so much about the athlete voice needing to be at the center of this game moving forward. Maybe there's been some missteps. There have been missteps over the last number of years. We have two greats here with us. You brought them on for this venture. It tells me and signals to the curling world that you're serious about involving the athlete voice, but walk me through that and how important that's been in carving out what this is going to look like moving forward.
I would say, Devin, it's the most important thing. One of the most important things that I've learned as I started getting involved in and well, interested in first and then involved in second, the curling world, is how incredible the actual curlers are. And to be honest, how undermarketed they are. It's incredible to me, the stereotype that I had about the curling community before I got involved. And then it took a very short amount of time to understand that the curler, as an exceptional international professional athlete, has so much opportunity that has unfortunately been untapped. And I think one of the reasons is that traditionally the sport has been run by a bunch of not-for-profit national sports organizations. And I think it's about time that the curler takes center stage. There needs to be a star system around this sport, and we need to provide a platform for curlers to take their position alongside the rest of the international sporting elite because they belong to be there. They're an incredible, engaging,
Mm.
funny group of folks, and it's about time the spotlight shine on them. And I will say, to Johnny's point, and genius, I will never agree to that word or description. Bearded, yes. Jewish, most definitely. But it was a moment when I'd been thinking about this for a long time, and I picked up Johnny at his friend's house in Waterloo last year, driving to the Briar. And we're driving to the Briar in London, and I said, "Hey, Johnny, I got a crazy idea. Tell me that this doesn't make sense." And he was like, actually, I think it does. And I think the curlers are going to embrace this type of change. And that was the validation that I needed to kind of dive headfirst into figuring this out.
Well, tell me about that, Jennifer. And just before we get to that, about the curler reaction and how you think curlers are going to absorb this. And a lot of people are going to have a lot of thoughts as this develops. But to your point, Nick, I've always thought, what other sport is on our TVs across this country as much? The curlers are superstars. We consume hours and hours. Canadians say they feel like the curlers are their next door neighbor, and yet they're having to grind it out and aren't paid like the pros. And so I love that you made that point. But Jennifer, how do you think the curling world is going to react to this? A Grand Slam of curling is such a valuable property. It is the lifeline to curling in this country and, quite frankly, around the world. How are people going to react to this?
The one thing about curlers is we have been involved in the growth of the game over the last number of years since the Grand Slams really started. And, again, from the women's game, we were only on TV once, and then the Grand Slam started and we were on TV more and our popularity grew. But we really want to grow the game. We want the game to be so successful. We want to be successful. I think the curlers are going to embrace this and be very excited about the potential opportunity. I will admit, when I heard about it, I contemplated maybe changing my mind because I think it's going to be that great. I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, it's going to be so fabulous. And I really do believe that the curlers we're still grassroots at heart, and we just love the game. We want to grow the great game. We want to see if we can take it to the next level and be a part of that. And I think the energy around it is just going to be unbelievable.
The words coming up when you say that, Jennifer, the words coming up for me are integrity and legitimacy. When you have people like yourself, like Johnny, believing in this, being a part of this, guiding what this is going to look like, there is immediate legitimacy. So Johnny, what needs to be talked about? What needs to be navigated? This is a real pivotal moment to sort of take a pause and go, what do we want this to look like moving forward? So I put that to you. What do we want this to look like? Early days, I know, and it's a loaded question, but some initial thoughts.
Well, the Grand Slams, it's not like we're going to do a complete facelift on the Grand Slams, because they've been a really big tradition and part of this game for many curlers around the world as a platform to get better, develop their skills, and become the best in the world. And it's still going to be that stage. But what we've been talking about, and some of the things we want to do, is to modernize. I'm sure you'd agree, Devin, being around the sport for so long, it is hard to make changes in the sport because usually it takes years and years to make small changes. And we want to refresh the sport a little bit. We want to modernize it. We want to engage with some younger fan base and essentially make curling exciting to not only watch, but as an in-venue experience. So you're going to be like, the ticket in town is the Grand Slam this weekend, and you're going to want to be there because we're going to create some great excitement around this. And I think how this sport could use a little bit of a refreshing.
Well, there's been so many conversations of late, haven't there? Have been attendances. Where are all the people? I don't have to tell you about the full barns, huge crowds, and there has to be a way to draw people back into the arenas. Nick, I love news. I love scoops. Is there anything you can tease us with about some of the things to attract people or things that are on your mind at this point as we look forward in this new chapter of the Grand Slam of curling?
At this point, can't share any specifics, but I will say this, Devin.
Yes.
I am not a traditional curler. I'm not a traditional
Right.
curling fan. The things we are going to introduce into this sport are going to be from the perspective of an outsider. Because I would argue that traditionalism has stunted the growth of curling. So, will there be certain things that we introduce that might annoy, dare I say, piss off some of the old school traditional curling fan? Yeah, maybe. But you gotta ruffle some feathers to make some noise, right? Now, we are going to create, to Johnny's point, a new level of excitement around the sport. The reason why folks like Johnny and Jennifer are involved, and there are going to be a number of other very open and frank conversations with the rest of the curlers, is because we need the entire curling world
Yeah.
from the inside out to participate in deciding what the next evolution of the sport happens to be. Even though I might be technically the CEO of the curling group, whatever, man. Like at the end of the day, I have to be a better listener than anything else. And it's the incredible curlers who are going to help shape what this next generation and call it curling 2.0 looks like.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped. A game-changing day, a historic day. I won't forget it. Can't wait to take this show on the road for the Slam Tour next year to the three of you. Congratulations. Can't wait to see how this unfolds, and stay tuned and buckle up, as I always say. Thank you all.